Have you ever tried to figure out how the canteen stores department, the CSD, handles those really big ticket items? Well, today we're going to cut right through all the noise and break down the exact rules you need to know. Let's just dive right in.
So maybe you're thinking about a new car, or perhaps it's finally time to upgrade that old TV or fridge. If you're planning on using your CSD benefits for that purchase, then stick around because you are in exactly the right place. See, to get those great deals, you've got to understand a pretty specific set of rules. They're called the AFD rules, and trust me, they are the absolute key to planning your next big purchase without running into any nasty surprises.
All right, first things first. We hear this term AFD thrown around all the time, but what does it actually mean? What is an AFD item? Let's get into it.
So AFD actually stands for Against Firm Demand. And you know what? The name itself gives you a massive clue. These aren't things you can just walk in and pick up off a shelf. Nope. These are the high-value items that the CSD goes out and gets specifically for you after you've placed a firm order.
Okay, makes sense, right? But it gets a little more detailed. Not all of these AFD items are treated the same way. They're actually split into two different categories that you really need to know about, AFD1 and AFD2.
And you can see the difference right here. Over on the left, you've got AFD1. Think of this as the top tier, the really big stuff, cars, bikes, and all those major home appliances, like TVs, refrigerators, and washing machines. Then on the right, you've got AFD2. This covers other important purchases, but they're a bit smaller in scale. Things like a new mattress, a good set of luggage, or even a pressure cooker. It's all about value and how often you'd buy them.
Now listen up, because this is probably the most important part of this whole thing, especially if you're eyeing one of those big ticket items. We're going to focus on that AFD1 category, because it comes with some very, very strict rules on how often you can buy.
Yeah, this isn't like your weekly grocery run. You can't just decide you want a new washing machine this year and another one next year. The CSD has a time-based system in place that really dictates how frequently you are eligible to purchase these items. Okay, this little table is basically your new best friend for planning. Let's walk through it. For a car, it's one purchase every 8 years. Simple as that. For TVs, you can get 2 of them every 4 years. And for air conditioners, it's 4 units within that same 4-year period. Then you see that last line, all other AFD1 items. That's your bikes, scooters, washing machines, microwaves. They fall under one simple rule, one item every 4 years. So for the biggest purchase of them all, your car, this is the number you need to remember. 8 years. That is the cycle. Seriously, all your planning for that big buy starts with knowing this 8-year timeline. And for pretty much everything else in that top-tier category, from a television to a refrigerator, the magic number is 4. This 4-year waiting period is the standard for most of those AFD1 items, so it's another number you've just got to keep in your back pocket. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the AFD2 category. The good news here is there's been a pretty recent update that gives you a whole lot more flexibility, which is fantastic, especially for families. You can see the change right here. It's simple, but it's a game changer. It used to be that if you wanted an AFD2 item, like a suitcase, you had to use the main grocery card. That was it. Well, that old rule is gone. Now you can use your liquor card or even your dependent cards to make the purchase. That's a huge convenience for the whole family. So we've covered what these items are, the 2 different types, and the all-important rules. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, how do you actually go about buying one? And this is absolutely critical to remember. For all those high-value AFD1 items, the car, the scooter, the TV, the entire process is digital. You can't just walk into a depot and place an order anymore. It has to be done through their official online portal. And there it is. This is the website address you need. So go ahead and jot this down or take a quick screenshot. It's afd-csdindia.gov.in. This is the one and only place you can go for all your AFD1 purchases. And there you have it. From understanding what against firm demand actually means to knowing the specific time limits on cars and ACs, you now have the complete roadmap to help you navigate the whole CSD system like a pro. So really, that just leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question. Knowing that there's an 8-year clock ticking on cars and a 4-year clock on most appliances, are you really making the most of your benefits? How will you time your purchases to get the maximum value? Well, now you've got the info, and the power to plan is officially in your hands.